Right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So I'm here with another informative video on fat fasting. It's something that's becoming more popular at the moment in regards to the carnivore, keto, fitness world. It's a concept which was originally created many years ago. This is back in the days of Dr. Atkins. They wanted to find a way to elevate fat intake and reduce body fat, essentially. So before I get into this any further, I want to say, do what works for you. Don't try this just because it's been talked about more. In most cases, or at least a lot of cases, it might not be practical or useful for you to do. So yeah, think very carefully before trying this out. But what I'm going to start with is basically, I'm 6'1", around 110 kilos, around 10-12% body fat. I need to put more fuel into my body due to the expenditure that I have. So for me, fasting isn't much use. I don't have particular health goal I'm trying to reach. I'm not, trying to burn or, burn. I'm not trying to oxidize a lot of body fat. So I'm focusing mostly on bodybuilding. That's what I do. So now there's different things at play here. So, my girlfriend Sophie, she's shorter, lighter. She perhaps can fast. It's not going to be too detrimental. Me, a bit less body fat, long term, not very sustainable. I might do a few days here and there if I was to do it, but, I don't see a need to. So please bear that in mind before you start trying these things. So when Sophie started the carnivore diet, she would fast from between 8 and 12 p.m. Well, she'd fast from 8 p.m. till 12 a.m., I guess. Was that p.m.? I don't know. Nighttime till the late morning. She found her training wasn't quite as good, performance wasn't quite as good in the gym. So she listened to her body and she tweaked things to suit. So do I like the idea of fasting? Sometimes, more often not. This is basically why. So I think there's a time and a place. It can be a great way to understand your hunger signals. It's helpful if you have a busy lifestyle and 15 meals can be difficult. So only eating once or twice a day might work for you, as long as you can eat enough in those 2 meals per day. It's a great way to sort of detox your body, in essence, starving the toxins out of it to then put back in the good stuff. On the other hand, I don't like fasting, and I'm going to explain why. So if you're someone that has issues or triggers around food, then until you've learned to ignore those voices, fasting isn't ideal for you. It can bring up those triggers again and therefore slow your recovery down. If you're someone with lots of muscle, exercise a lot, need a lot of fuel, maybe your body won't tolerate it as well. And it could affect your recovery, therefore affect your activity or exercise performance. So let's talk a bit about the high fat thing as well. So I like high fat diets, give you a good fuel source. You're fuller for longer, so the energy that you take in will last theoretically longer. It's less glycation, oxidative damage. It's more compatible with what we're meant to use as human beings. Helps reduce those cravings as well, which seems to really help. You also find as well as your energy levels will increase, and what I mean by that is they'll be more stable. There'll be none of this up and down blood sugar crashes and spikes and all this sort of stuff. In essence, it can also help your body become fat adapted. So it could be a useful way to get back on track if you've sort of been off your goal, in terms of your diet anyway. And, having all these infringements and potatoes, crisps, chocolate, popcorn, whatever it is, that's not going to be useful for you. So doing this sort of method can be a way to bring your body back to baseline. Some people just do it by default. They've had a busy day. They just don't want to eat some food. They'll just pile on a load of butter. It sounds bizarre, but people do it. It's surprisingly more common than what you think. People that I've spoken to, it is definitely something that people do. But doesn't mean it's necessarily good for everyone. You do have body fat stored. Most people do anyway, especially the Western world. So, this sort of thing is impractical for people that are of a very light frame, people that are struggling with eating disorder issues, things like that. So you're not going to have enough fuel source if you're doing any kind of fasting. So, avoid. This isn't recommended for people that are on the borderline of anorexia, anything like that. So let's get into the nuts and bolts of it. Fasting and the carnivore diet. So it provides PPAR stimulation, which is a catabolic hormone. It upregulates the production of ketones, which are a very useful unit of energy that your brain can use. It will rise glucagon levels. So this is a counterbalancing hormone in relation to insulin release. The ideal insulin glucagon ratio is somewhere around 1.3. So it's useful, perhaps if chronically overeating sugar and other dietary infringements. Remember, there is a balance. We must obtain both between anabolic and catabolic hormones. So it doesn't mean we have to try and do both at the same time. It's not how it works. But you need a rise in some things and a rise in other things at time. So don't try and do both at the same time. It's near enough impossible. Probably is actually impossible. But yeah, so if you want to attain a disease-free status in terms of health, get that balance right. So with that, short term is perhaps useful for hastening fat adaptation, meaning getting into a fat adapted state quicker. It can increase the accessibility of fat as an energy substrate. So that can be useful for people that have an issue sort of tapping into their fat stores, essentially. That is a thing. So people do actually oxidize less fat as a result of whatever they've done for periods before, again, dietary infringements. It can improve symptoms of leaky gut as well, which is also probably an effect because of the fact you're removing these problematic foods. So that's also a useful thing. So it can sort of expedite your healing process in some cases. It's very little. I'd say it's perhaps very limited in terms of practical use, this method. It can be long-term detrimental for conserving muscle mass. Again, this is why I say maybe a 1 to 3 day fat fast if you're going to do it. You can build unhealthy habits, so you could acquire that sort of empty feeling. When you're empty, people tend to function a bit better, a bit more energetic. People get obsessed with that like catabolic high, I call it. It's not appropriate. Your energy should be balanced. You should feel all hyped up and where's my next state going to come from? You should be calm, conservative, relaxed, and that's how you should feel throughout the day. Or ideally as close as that's possible. So the other thing is the taurine stores from your protein uptake is decreased. So you might have electrolyte issues if you're not fat adapted. So there's that issue as well. So again, time and a place. Keep saying time and a place, time and a place. So like most things I say to you guys, always question the trends at hand. Why do you need to do it? Does it apply and will it be sustainable? If not, how long can you follow it for? This is down to you. You need to work this out. So like I keep saying, protein, fat, different nutrients, both essential, but requirements will differ. So keep that in mind for the next time you decide to try anything a bit extreme in terms of macronutrient intakes. I've seen a lot of diet plans over the last few weeks and years, all over the shop. People think that one way is, as long as we're getting the carbs out, we're doing pretty well. That's just the key focal point of this sort of explanation, really. Anyway, I hope my rambling wasn't too bad today. I tried to get through that quite succinctly as I could. Got a video titled Carnivore Diet Macros. It's a few weeks back, maybe a few months by the time this airs. And also there's one about the truth about macros. So that's if you want any more information about this sort of topic. May or may not be useful, but have a look, see how you get on. Like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching.